Hello everybody and welcome back. This is episode number 8 of the Vanarama YouTube Football Manager 2018 experiment series with Celtic and Rangers in the English League. Obviously we started off in the Vanarama, we're now in halfway through the season in the Sky Bet Championship, and there you go, Celtic are pushing for their automatic space, and I think in the January transfer window, if they were going to be pushing for it, they would have had to make a bit of a statement of intent, I believe. But there comes the surprise package. Rangers have soared up into the top half. They're now only 6 points away from a playoff place, so they're in majorly good form. If you remember right, they'd lost 10 the last time we saw them in November. Since then, they've only lost another 2, but they've won an awful lot of games. I wonder what the secret is of that. Maybe the players are finally gelling. Maybe they've brought in 1 or 2 early on in the January window who've boosted their win rate. But I tell you what, let's start with Rangers then. We know they don't have as much money. Their finances are only in an okay position. So what kind of business would they have done in the January window? I don't imagine there would have been much. And as expected, there wasn't masses of it. They brought in 4 players, 1 on loan, and Jacob Murphy, 25 years old, attacking midfield right, decent player. He must have been transfer listed by Newcastle for them to get him so cheap and for him to be worth 2.9 million. So that could be a shrewd little signing. Whoever this guy is, worth 7.5 million. Kick Pierre. Whoever Pierre is, I guess he'll disagree with that one. But no, that's a player on loan, a good player. Maybe he may be making a bit of a difference. Kim Shao, or whoever he is, 21-year-old defender right. I can't imagine he's going to be a first teamer. And Panos Armenkas, 22-year-old Australian, brought in from Udinese. He looks like he's got a bit of a Greek name, really. Well, an attacking midfield right. Will he be playing a part? Well, he haven't made any appearances yet, but then they only signed him yesterday, so that'll be why. So Jacob Murphy was a signing that they made at the beginning, and he's playing okay at the moment, so he may be making something of a difference, but I can't imagine it being a lot at this particular moment. So yeah, Rangers have loaned an awful lot of young players out, so maybe they got some youngsters who were about to come bursting onto the scene. Let's have a look at the business Celtic have done. We said Celtic need to make a bit of a statement of intent in this window if they are going to push for the Premier League. A statement of intent. Tammy Abraham. Now, if you need a statement of intent, there is a statement of intent, all right. That there, and he's already scored 3 and 3. There's your statement of intent, Tammy Abraham. And Yangel Herrera, whoever he is, a Venezuelan 23-year-old central midfielder. Celtic are pushing themselves into becoming a ready-made Premier League team. If you look at some of their players, I mean, Anton Tinnerholm, we'll look at him first, worth 5.75 million, 29-year-old Swedish right-back. So Celtic have spent 43 million, and we said when they get to the Championship, that's when they're going to need to spend the money, and they have done. The only thing is, though, they've sold a couple of players that probably could have been the difference between them being in 5th and in 1st. So they're 8 points behind Swansea, who have now overtaken Brighton. Brighton have dipped off somewhat, but they're still sitting in 2nd place at the moment. But Rangers are the ones who we're going to keep a close eye on. Ipswich and Sunderland are still stuck down in the bottom, but QPR have pulled themselves away, and so have Fulham. So, a very interesting take on things. So, let's go back to Rangers and just have a little overview of their squad, and then we'll look at what they're doing so far in the Cups. So, I don't want to go on selection, let's go on general info. So, Freddie Woodman, worth 5.25 million, as a backup goalkeeper to Rob Elliott. Maybe the experience is something that's making a bit of a difference, playing Rob Elliott in goal instead. So you look at the value of some of these players. Let's do it by value. I mean, they have, and a lot of these players belong to them as well. They have some really high value players. I think they did really well, didn't they, in bringing players in on a free. If they can do that again well, and replace some of the players that they brought in by moving some on, and give themselves a bit of a kitty to play with, then I believe that they could give themselves a squad that could get promoted. Obviously, if Chris Powell knows where to find the bargains, then he should be utilising that talent. The only thing, though, is when you look at this team, the bulk of it is quite old. Obviously, Rob Elliott and Jamie Vardy probably seen better days. Jamie Vardy's playing regularly for them, only scoring 9 goals this season, though. It's a bit of a poor return for Jamie Vardy, but he is 34, I suppose. Aaron Gunnarsson, yeah, so Rangers have got a good side, but they need to freshen it up with a couple of younger players, I believe. We go back to the selection info. On average rating, Eric Matoho is having a cracking season for them at the moment. Freddie Woodman looks as though he's been their first choice, but Rob Elliott has also they've sort of been swapping the shifts, I suppose. But Woodman looking like he's the better of the two, judging by his performances. Pardon me. Gustav Valsvik playing a decent season so far, but they need a few harder hitters, really, don't they? They need a few players to step up. So, Rangers in 9th now. What have they done in the Cups? Now, we know they went out the Carabao Cup in the second round, but because we're in the Championship, well, they drew with Celtic at home. That's their first game, they drew. So, FA Cup third round, it was a draw. Third round replay was a win. So, they're in the fourth round, and they lost away to Chelsea quite understandably. So that's a bit of a shame that the teams, they haven't really been able to push themselves into a really good cup run. As you can see here, they'd lost 3 on the bounce, and then all of a sudden they've gone on this run, an unbeaten run from the 19th of December all the way up. Now I'm starting to wonder what might be the reason for that. Yes, Chris Powell left his managerial role on the 16th of the 1st. Graham Murty is the manager. Is he the full-time manager? I mean they had no one, and Graham Murty is now their manager. I don't know who the caretaker was. Graham Murty has been in charge for 3 days now. Chris Powell has gone to go and be the manager of Bournemouth. Bournemouth in the Premier League. So Bournemouth have obviously been in a position where they're struggling. Chris Powell has been pinched from Rangers. But usually when you see that kind of upturn in form, it's because a manager's come in, not because a manager's left. Because he started doing well and started to take them up. He's done something to switch it round himself. Murty, is up to him to carry that on now. So there we go. There's an interesting turn of things. Now let's go back and let's go and find Celtic. Okay, so we're on Celtic now. So we've seen their transfers. Let's have a little overview of the kind of players that they've got now. So let's go by average rating. Tammy Abraham has come in and made an instant impact. Luke Southwood's only played 4 games but has done well in them 4. Boric Dokal is very much a star player for the season. 22 games, 7.26. He's 32 years old though, unfortunately. That's a bit of a shame. Andre Wisdom they paid a lot of money for, and he's obviously playing well for them. He may be getting, he's getting used as a right back. Hinteregger was a replacement centre back, and he's on 56k a week. Wow. So Celtic have put themselves together something of an already made Premier League team. So I'm quite interested now to see if they get there. But in the meantime, let's have a little look at their cup. Because, well, yeah, actually, let's go through this squad a little bit more. I want to dissect their squad a little bit more because they still got Bitton and Armstrong. Joel Campbell is obviously still at the club, worth a lot of money. So they really have put together a really, really good team. Although Yangel Herrera, their midfielder, hasn't played yet. 11.5 million on 30,000. Over £30,000 a week, and he's sat on. He's not even sat on a bench. So they've got quite a lot of players on loan as well, which is something Rangers haven't got quite as many as what Celtic have got. I mean, Celtic have brought in Josh Sims on loan, who is a good forward in real life, although he's not really hitting the heights that you'd have expected him to by now. No, not quite yet. Whoever this guy is, 24-year-old Croatian from Southampton. So they're tapping up Southampton for some players, aren't they? Leslie Drost from Man United. So they've utilised the loan market well. So that might be something that gets them. But I think the signing of Tammy Abraham is what's going to propel Celtic into the Premier League if they are to make it. So you look at the value of a lot of their players, and a lot of these players they own. So Stuart Armstrong, Joel Campbell, Neil Bitton, Andre Wisdom, Kouassi Abui. I mean, look at them. They're all worth mega bucks. So Celtic could sell out this squad, replace it, and be up by about 50 million. That's what they've got. But you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't destabilise something that's going well. And at the moment, they are doing well considering the Championship. They're in 5th place. What are they doing in the Cups? Now, they won their FA Cup 3rd round game, 2-1 at home to Bolton. FA Cup 4th round, they got the replay coming up. So we won't know how far they're going to go in the FA Cup. Well, they don't know if we're going to get past the 4th round or do better than Rangers until afterwards. But look at that for the game, right at the end of the season. Rangers versus Celtic, and that could determine whether Celtic go up or whether Rangers go into the playoffs. Can you imagine if it comes down to that? That's just madness. So I'm eager to find out how it goes. I'm sure you are too. Let's take it to the end of the season and see how this one concludes and see if either or both get into the Premier League or none of them get into the Premier League. It could go either way for both, I think. Rangers are on a good run. They could get to the playoffs. Celtic are on a really good run. I think they could push on and win the league. But let's see. Eager to find out. I'll see you guys there. Okay, so here we are on the 31st of May. The season is almost over. Now, Sheffield Wednesday versus Huddersfield is the Championship playoff final, which makes me wonder, did Celtic and Rangers finish 1st and 2nd? Did any of them finish in the top 2 at all? Because if they didn't finish in the top 2, none of them have been promoted this season. Sky Bet Championship holders Crystal Palace. So the season isn't technically over. So Crystal Palace aren't in the Championship. So that's not a sign that neither of them may have made it. So this is where we're going to find out who finished where. Drum roll, please. I haven't got the spare hand to do a drum roll, I'm afraid. Sorry, but here we go. 1, 2, 3. What? Oh my word. None of them went up. Celtic, what happened there? They just completely derailed and didn't even finish in the playoffs. I said that Tammy Abraham was going to propel them into the Premier League. What happened? Rangers then finished in the playoffs instead of Celtic. So Rangers have really come on really well there. But they got knocked out in the playoffs. So first of all, let's look who Rangers got knocked out of the playoffs to. Rangers got put out by Huddersfield by a single goal. Oh my God. So Rangers won 3-1 at Huddersfield and then lost 3-0 at home to them. How does that even happen? That's crazy. But what happened to Celtic though? I mean, they just went on a major downfall there. But let's look at the Celtic downfall first. We're going to have a look at this, the schedule. Right, so this was... So they lost their 4th round replay and their next 2 Championship games, but they drew 2, won 2, so getting back on track. Lost 1, lost. They won a couple, drew 1. So it just went on. They lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Championship games. No, sorry, there can't be more than that. 8. No, that I was counting that cup replay. So 7 Championship games they lost, and they drew 3. They won only 6 more games from the point we saw them last. And actually, no, they'd have beaten Millwall. So they won 7, they lost 7, and they drew 3. At the time of the season where you don't want to be losing 7 games. And they lost to Rangers at home. That's got to be a kick in the teeth because Rangers push Rangers on for a playoff place. If Celtic had won that game and beaten Villa, Celtic may have finished in the playoff place. I had a feeling that game was going to have some kind of impact. It was a TV game as well. Well. So Rangers not going up wasn't much of a surprise, but Celtic not going up and not even finishing in the playoffs. They were having a good season as well. That shocked me, something rotten that up. I can't believe that. That's just crazy. Rangers, though, finished in the playoffs, but the way they lost to Huddersfield, we could be looking at Rangers getting into the Premiership instead of Celtic if they'd done the job at home. They didn't do the job away. They won 3-1 away. Crazy. Leeds have gone down. With Sunderland, Fleetwood fell in the end. Ipswich pulled themselves out of it. But Leeds went down. Leeds would have ended a year last time. That's just gone berserk. Hull come out of nowhere and finished second. Swansea fell off and didn't even finish in the playoffs, and they were top. Well, there we go then. Well, that's just mental. So mental. I mean, when is the final? The final of the playoffs is, well, on this day. I tell you what, guys, I'm just going to see who went up in the end. And it was Huddersfield who ended up going up as well. Oh my God. If this was real life and you were Rangers, you'd be sick right now. But then if you were Celtic, you'd be delighted, but you'd be sick with your own downfall. Oh, that was poor. So poor. Player stats. Let's have a quick overview of it. So, with goals, Rangers had Jamie Vardy, who ended up finishing up there. Maybe a turn in form. It said Jamie Vardy could be one of the players that could come good to push Rangers up there. But assists, Celtic just haven't had anybody. Celtic just need a couple of proper players. So least conceded. So Rangers ended up finishing with some really good individuals. I mean, Celtic had Robin Olsen, but I don't know. Most clean sheets, Robin Olsen, Freddie Woodman. Most key passes, maybe, yeah, Phil Foden. So, I think if Rangers are going to be looking to, where's the highest average rating? That's what I want. Average rating. Let's have a look at that. Highest average rating. So Rangers had a good one in the end, but Celtic were doing well. I just can't believe the downfall there. I really can't believe the downfall. That's just. Well, there we go. That's Celtic and Rangers for you. Neither of them are in the Premier League. We have to wait another season for them to get there. Rangers doing a lot better than I really expected them to, but they have done well in the transfer market. Graham Murty has obviously taken them forward, but they'll be very, very disappointed with losing in the playoffs the way that they did. So next season could be a good one for Rangers. Celtic are going to need to spend a little bit more money. They need to get those season ticket sales to get that money to spend. Because if they want to get in the Premier League, they need to up their game. One thing I'm going to look at, though, if we quickly go back, overview, that's the one I want to go on. League table, Celtic. Brendan Rodgers is still manager. Will he be in a position where his job may be at stake? We don't know. But we'll find out. Let's go and have a look to see how our friends Gateshead and Barrow have done in Scotland. So starting the Ladbrokes Championship, Gateshead in a pretty standard 6th place, not really in fear of relegation, on the fringes of it maybe, but never really in for the shape promotion or anything like that either. So a pretty standard season for them to sort of gather themselves and build a bit upon themselves and maybe push for the Premiership next season. We'll see. How did Barrow get on? I expect that they got miserably relegated. Yeah, miserably relegated, although they did go on to win 5 games when the last time we saw them they'd lost, well, loads. They'd lost pretty much every game. They hadn't won any. But those wins, 2 against Kilmarnock and 2 against Hamilton, towards the end of the season that had been against Kilmarnock and Hamilton, as per in the bottom half, playing against the top teams, they would have lost a lot more games. But they did manage to draw twice against the champions. Hibs have taken the Scottish League again. So there we go. Guys, that's the end of this episode. A very, very interesting episode to say the least. A bit devastating, really, if we're really backing these two teams to do well in England. But, like I say, the results that have come back have been quite shocking, and it's extremely enjoyable. Really enjoying doing this series. I'm really liking the fact that people are picking up on this series as well. So keep watching, guys. I'm sure there's plenty more in store. Let's see into the next episode how Celtic and Rangers go about their business. See if Rangers can pick up some more good freebies. See if Celtic go and spend the cash. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you very much. Cheerio for now.